Well, good afternoon everyone, and a very warm welcome to every one of you on behalf of Anne, Karen, Lynn and myself to our second friendly hour of the year. We hope you're all safe and well and looking forward to the show. Now, our theme this time is, since we're not far off of Valentine's Day, love. Love is in the air. And the quote, now by the powers invested in me, this quote should be coming on screen round about now. Sometimes the heart sees what is invisible to the eye. Sometimes the heart sees what is invisible to the eye. And this is a quote by H. Jackson Brown Jr., who is an American author of inspirational books, a best-selling author of inspirational books. Now, what does that mean? Well, friendship, love, affection, etc. are all emotions and feelings observed by the heart. The eyes only see the physical state of something. Sure, if you want to know the truth, you listen to your heart, don't you? Because the heart can feel. The eyes only observe. And love's a very powerful emotion. Everybody loves to love. It can bring the deepest of affection or the simplest of pleasures. But we don't just need to love people, we can love things as well. Now, when I was a wee girl, I was introduced to Joanna Spyri, who was the author of Heidi, and Heidi Grows Up and Heidi's Children. And I read those 3 books when I was a wee girl, and that was me hooked. That was me hooked on the joy of reading. And to this day, I still devour probably more books than I should. Hasn't made me any cleverer, but I enjoy reading them. So you can have a love of books, you can have a love of the arts, the theatre, you can love going to the theatre, you can love going to musicals, to ballets, you can love painting, you can love gardening. There's so many things you can love. Love is all around us. Now let's kick this show off with a sing-along. Sit back and relax, and we hope you love it. We're going to be singing along to a famous love song. Here we go.
Well, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to this week's Friendly Hour. So this week I've got something a wee bit different for you. I know how much you like stories and I know how much you like quizzes, so I've combined a story with a quiz, but there's a wee twist to it. This story contains a lot of song titles and lines from songs that you will recognise. So what I need you to do is tally up the number of song titles that you hear and see if your total matches the one at the end. But don't worry if you don't get it all in the one go, because what we'll do is we'll print the story at the end of the programme, and they will also print one with the answers, and you can compare the two and see if you got the correct totals. So if you're all sitting comfortably, pen and paper ready, in the words of Max Bygraves, I want to tell you a story. So story number 1. Darby and Joan were sitting at their own fireside one hot summer's night, and they were sitting in complete silence, and Joan turned to Darby and said, "What's happened to our love? We used to do things like walking in the rain, dancing in the dark, take a stroll along the prom, listening to the sound of music. And it was from the 76 trombones playing in the bandstand. Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside, with my hair blowing in the wind, hearing the noise from the streets of London and the cries of cockles and mussels. I remember in the early days, you couldn't love me more. And when you were down and troubled, you would take me a ride on the Chattanooga Choo-Choo, because you heard it on the grapevine that this train was bound for glory. And when you were in the mood, you used to sing me a moonlight serenade. Underneath the lamplight, it was oh so quiet, so peaceful and still. You could almost hear the nightingale sing in Berkeley Square. And now we don't talk anymore. You don't bring me flowers. So where did our love go?" "Oh, shut up your face. What's love got to do with it? Our life has been great. It's been a hard day's night at times. You've had me all shook up and singing the blues. So stop right there and thank you very much. I'm begging for mercy. Please stop that rabbit with your incessant talking. Why don't you give it a rest? This is my life, and I want to live it my way. So let's go for a little walk. Just as well you're not a material girl, and you think that diamonds are a girl's best friend. All I ask of you is that you love me like you do. We've only just begun to live our lives. You've taken me on many a long and winding road. Now, if I were a rich man, we could ride a white swan, or I could take you out on a surrey with a fringe on top. I could fly you to the moon. But I'm just a poor boy, and all I want is you. And I want us to be known as the folk who live in the hill. So come on, let's go fly a kite, somewhere over the rainbow. And we'll count our blessings, and we'll have a tea for two, and go to sleep in heavenly peace, just the two of us, and know that you're the one that I want, always and forever." So that's story number 1. See how many titles you got in that one.
Hello everybody. It's my job to introduce the next item, and I thought instead of just telling you about it, I would see if you could work it out. So I'm going to read you the verse of a song, then I'll play you a wee bit of the music, and I'd like you to see if you can guess what the next item is about. Does your mother realise the stork delivered quite a prize the day he left you on the family tree? Does your dad appreciate that you are merely super great, the miracle of any century? If they don't, just send them both to me. think you probably all know that song. But you must be wondering what "You Must Have Been a Beautiful Baby" has to do with the next item. Well, let me tell you. You're going to see two screens, and you'll see pictures of babies and of adults. Now, the adults you'll recognise, but what we would like you to do is to match up the baby pictures to the adult pictures. Now, there are numbers and equivalent names, so you'll find it easy enough to write it down, and we'll give you the answers later on in the show and see how well you did. So, enjoy our Guess Who's the Baby.
Well, there you have it, your baby pictures. Off I brawl. Now, I want to talk to you about Valentine cards. Cast your mind back. Do you remember when you used to send them when you were younger and they had acronyms on them? For instance, there was Holland, Hope Our Love Lasts and Never Dies. There was Italy, I Trust and Love You. There was SWOC, Sealed with a Loving Kiss. And my favourite, France, and it's Friendship Remains and Never Can End. Isn't that cute? Now, I used to think these abbreviated acronyms were unique to this era. For instance, phone abbreviations, it took me a while to get used to these. But you get FYO for your information, BTW, by the way. LOL. Now, that was the one that got me into lots of bother because I thought LOL meant lots of love. And I was sending texts out saying, sorry that your budgie died, laugh out loud. Or sorry to hear your man's lost his job, laugh out loud. I thought it was lots of love. I lost a few friends that way. Anyway, but no, do you know, abbreviations go way back to the Roman times. When people were sending letters to each other, they used to always start with, I hope you're well, I'm fine. I hope you're well, I'm fine. And that went in every single letter. And then they get fed up with that. So they used to abbreviate it. And of course it was in Latin. So the abbreviation was SVBEEQV, which means, you'll probably know this, Si valis bene est ego quidem valeo, which means, if you're well, that's good, all's well with me. And that was what they put at the start of their letters, to save time. Now, others were codes only meant to be deciphered by the recipients. They were very popular in the run-up and during World War II, when the troops sent letters to their sweethearts back home, and they developed their own cryptic acronyms and scribbled them in the back of love letters. Now, I remember when I was 16 and I thought I was in love with this boy out of 4th year at school. I think we fell in love, or at least I thought we did, at the 4th year dance, Christmas dance. And it got to February and I thought, oh, I'm in for a Valentine here. A big Valentine card, a big padded card. One that was red, one that had roses on it and a great big heart. Didn't matter if it's sequins on it, I'm not that fond of sequins, but that was my requirements. And so I hinted and I hinted and I hinted, and I sent him one, but just a normal boy's Valentine card, and I signed it, posted it off. And Valentine's Day came, and I knew the postman wouldn't be at his usual time because his sack would be full of Valentine cards. And I waited and it got to 3 o'clock and I thought, plenty of time. Got to 4 o'clock and I thought, run out of time now. 5 o'clock, I was heartbroken. And on the way upstairs to my room, as I was going upstairs, there was a wee window in the stair that looked out onto the door on the front step. And I thought I saw a figure. We had 2 hedges either side of the path. And I thought I saw a figure creeping down. And here I heard a tiny little noise coming from the letterbox. Well, that certainly wasn't a big boxed card. So I looked and there was a wee thing, not much bigger than a postage stamp. And I opened it up and it was the last wee card that had obviously been lying in the carousel at the wee corner shop at the end of his road that said, please buy me, I'm the last one sitting here. I was so disappointed. There was no big padded card, no red card, there was no roses, there was no hearts. This was it. Well, I opened it up and he hadn't even signed it. He put a question mark, guess who? I knew fine who it was from. Well, it went in the back of the fire, along with the friendship, metaphorically speaking. I mean, they just never learn, men, do they? Because I had put on it, posty, posty, do not tarry, take this to the one I'll marry. And what I should have put was, posty, posty, bring it back, keep it in your postal sack. I've changed my mind, love's no for me, I'd rather have Corrie and a cup of tea. They promise you the earth. They tell you that they will swim the deepest ocean, they'll climb the highest mountain, they'll fight off all the animals in the jungle. And if it's no rain in the night, they'll come and visit you. Men. Anyway, I want to read out this little Valentine poem. And it was written by someone who was very much in love. And it was love at first sight. And it's entitled, funnily enough, My Darling Valentine. I have a darling Valentine who is so dear to me, and every time I see their face my heart is filled with glee. I never take them out to dine or buy them any flowers, but I'm happy just to be with them and while away the hours. I first encountered my true love on a Sunday night last June. It was love at first sight on that very night, and I hoped I'd see them soon. And after every visit, I knew I could hardly wait till we'd meet again and go for walks and plan another date. Although they never speak of love, I can see it in their eyes, and they often shed a tear or two whenever we say our goodbyes. I never thought one person could make me feel this way. I smile whenever I think of them, which is every single day. I felt compelled to put into words exactly how I feel. For my true love, my Valentine, my love for them so real. But just to make it clear to you, there's something to be told. My Valentine May is my grandchild, and she's only 8 months old. I wrote that 3 years ago when my granddaughter was born. I fell in love with her the day I met her. Now, what have we got next? Let's see what's next in the agenda. I'm not sure what we've got. Oh yes, I know what's coming up now. And this is going to be exciting. It's Adam. It's the famous Adam now doing a duet with Anne. They'll tell you all about it.
Hi everyone, happy to be back for the Friendly Hour. I was going to say Happy New Year since I've not been here since last year, but I think we're kind of past that point now, we're into February. But anyway, Anne and I've got another arrangement for you, and this time it's a popular jazz standard, a song from the late 50s. It was made popular by the singer Johnny Mathis. It was written by Errol Garner with lyrics by Johnny Burke, and it's called Misty, and many of you may know. And if you do know it, you'll know it's appropriate for this time of year, having just been Valentine's Day. So you'll know the words are absolutely appropriate for this time of year. So we hope you enjoy our arrangement of Misty by Johnny Mathis.
Story number 2. Lockdown 3. Bonnie and Clyde were going loco down in Acapulco when somewhere out there came a clap of thunder and a flash of light. The heavens opened and raindrops kept falling on their head. "Let's take shelter under the boardwalk," said Clyde. "Oh, how crazy were we," said Bonnie, "to think we could pass the time away, writing love letters in the sand in this weather." "But isn't it strange though, as it usually never rains in Southern California, and yet here we are in the November rain needing our umbrella?" I can see clearly now the rain has gone. But have you ever seen the rain as heavy as that before? It's really nice just walking in the rain, but I don't like the thunderbolts of lightning. They are very, very frightening. Oh no, here comes the rain again, just when I thought it had passed over. And here's the wayward wind getting up now too. Oh, what's wrong with you, Clyde? It's not like you to be thunderstruck. Well, I'm just busy watching the riders on the storm. Proper beach babies they are, out there surfing USA. I'll bet they don't shelter from the storm. Oh, there's a big white cloud and some Mr. Blue Sky. And here comes the sun. It looks like it might be a sunny afternoon after all. Come on, let's get ready to rumble. We'll throw caution to the wind and keep on walking, 'cause it ain't gonna rain anymore. It's definitely a true saying that you can get 4 seasons in one day. And what's wrong? Why are your blue eyes crying in the rain? Stop it. Don't let the sun catch you crying. Or do you just prefer stormy weather, where there ain't no sunshine, and when it rains, it really pours? I really don't like singing in the rain, or singing the blues. I don't get any satisfaction from that at all. I blame it on the weatherman myself. And although it was only a storm in a teacup, here comes the sun. You never know, we might get a heat wave after all. But when it's spring again, I'll bring again tulips from Amsterdam. So let's go all the way home now. So how many did you get there? Remember, you can check your answers and catch up on the stories at the end of the show. And now, here with the answers to Guess the Baby is Anne.
Good afternoon. It's good to be back at the Friendly Hour here amongst my good friends. I've been asked to recite a poem this afternoon, and it's entitled What is Love by E.J. Wallace. What is love? I heard you ask. A pointed question, a daunting task, a challenge for a weary mind to see what gems that I may find. What is love, my mind did say? A caring touch, a gentle way. It's both of these, but so much more, numerous attributes to explore. What is love? I searched my soul, a loving glance, a hand to hold. It is these things, but just one part of the beauty that lies within the heart. What is love? I asked my heart. It seemed the best place where I should start. Is it fireworks, comets, or astral displays which cause us to feel so deeply this way? This is love, my heart replied. Listen closely to me, and then you will see. Love is not loud, it's a quiet sensation, not easily confused with infatuation. The beauty of love, it continued to tell, is eternal endurance, the absence of hell. Unparalleled strength in spite of adversity, protecting you with its cloak of security. The gift of love, it's sermonized on, provides you with peace like a golden green morn. It lives and breathes, for it is alive, where all your hopes and dreams reside. What is love? You'll be glad to know, is the chance for two hearts to share and to grow. Trust, compassion, and a listening ear will dispel all your doubts, cast out all your fears. What is love? It's simple, you see. It's essential as air for our souls to breathe. It replenishes your faith and self-esteem, allowing you to fulfill all of your dreams. When is it love? Your heart will know what you should do and where you should go. It will guide your path straight and true. Be prepared for love when it comes calling for you. Thank you.
Now, I have a confession to make. This St Valentine's quiz is, as they say on Blue Peter, one I made earlier. So apologies to anyone who took part in last Saturday's coffee, chat and prayer fellowship meeting, but I'm sure you'll have forgot the answers. There are 10 questions, but it is really quite easy. It's just simply a name the song. Now, I'll give you the answers at the end. So, hope you've got your thinking caps on. Hope you've got your pen and paper at the ready. And here we go with question number 1. Okay, give you a couple of seconds to write that one down. And here's number 2. Okay, quite easy so far. Now, here's number 3. Okay, see how you go with that one. And here's number 4. The younger ones should get this. Amanda, that's you. And here's one for the oldies. All right. Now, number 6. Everybody should get this one. No, that one was easy, can't deny that. Now, number 7. We're going back a bit for number 7, but I think you all know it. George will know this when he's old enough. Give you a couple of seconds to remember that one. Now this one's much more up to date, so I'm relying on Amanda to get this one. Here we go. If you've seen the film, you should get it. Right, number 9. Dead easy, this one. Right. Now, hopefully you've got them all so far. And here's the last one. Number 10. there we go. That's them all. 10 in all. I'll give you a couple of seconds now to see if you miss any out and you remember them now, and I'll give you the answers. Okay, so here we go with the answers. Wonder how you got on. So, number 1 was Groovy Kind of Love by Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders, and then later on Phil Collins covered that song as well. Number 2 was I Can't Stop Loving You by Ray Charles. Number 3 was a Dusty Springfield song, and it was You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. Number 4 was Love Is All Around, originally by the Trogs and then by Wait, Wait, Wait. And if you've seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Love Actually, you'll know that the song featured in both of those films. Number 5, maybe a wee bit trickier, was Love Is a Many Splendid Thing, and that was from a 1949 film starring William Holden and Jennifer Jones. The number 6, everybody knows, Can't Help Falling in Love, and it was done by Elvis, but the one I kind of remember is the version by Andy Williams. Number 7 was the lady with the rather strange voice, was Marlene Dietrich, and the song was Falling in Love Again. Number 8 was Lay All Your Love on Me, and that was an ABBA song, and it featured in the film Mamma Mia. Number 9, very well known song, especially for St Valentine's Day, When I Fall in Love by Nat King Cole. And number 10, I wonder if you got it from just the introduction, from very well known film, and the song was called Somewhere My Love, also known as Lara's Theme, and that was from Dr. Zhivago. So there you go, that's all your 10. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you did pretty well. Always like to know, so send me your results, let me know how you got on. And now I'm going to pass you over to Lynn, and she's going to tell you about a wedding.
Well, we're just past Valentine's Day. And you know something? Valentine's cards can sometimes lead to marriage. And I'd like to tell you today about a marriage that took place in 1957, where I was the flower girl. Now, nowadays, weddings can cost about, 20, 25, upwards thousands of pounds. But in 1957, my granny was a widow and she couldn't really afford very much. So ingenuity was the order of the day. All the dresses had to be homemade. Now, Elsie got engaged in the July and married at the Christmas. So it took months and months, right through the autumn, of standing on chairs, getting hems pinned. Do you know there was pins everywhere? There was pins on seats, which my uncle, who was still at home, sat on, and the fuss there was about that. There was even pins found themselves into the butter dish. It was absolutely madness. But slowly but surely the dresses were being made. Now the veil was getting borrowed from my father's sister, and the silver shoes were borrowed from the girl 2 doors along who took the same size. So that was okay. But flowers, how were we going to manage the flowers? Well, the bride's bouquet was going to be made for her by the one and only Raya McAllister in the High Street in Irvine. And my bouquet and the bridesmaid's bouquet was going to be handmade at home out of anemones with a silver doily wrapped round them and silver ribbon with long ties. I thought I was just it. It was marvellous. And I wish actually that I had a photograph to show you, because we all turned out looking rather good. But unfortunately, along with my baby photographs, which I can't actually show now, that photograph and just about every other photograph was thrown out by accident. My mother and father died within months of each other. My husband was ill, my brother was ill, and we just said to a firm of house clearers, We've taken everything valuable out, just cleared the rest. And we hadn't looked at the photographs. They were in a big box in a cupboard, and I'm afraid to say every single one of them went. I've got one wee photograph of my granny left, and that's all I've got. So that's why you haven't seen my baby photograph. But I'd love to have shown you this wedding, because we were really smart. We looked great. So the wedding day came. The big box came. Somebody went and got it. The bride's bouquet, it was white chrysanthemums, I always remember, the ones with the really big curly mop heads. And as much fern and greenery and silver ribbons. And we were so excited, it was marvellous. And to be honest, it hadn't really cost all that much so far. Up we go to the church, and it was the first wedding that was ever held in the Church of the Nazarene in the High Street in Irvine. It had just been built, and our wedding party was the first in. And the excitement of standing up at the altar and hearing it all, and then the register was signed, and then it was off in a taxi down to Mr. Fraser's Photographers in Montgomery Street. Used to be Mr. Fisher's, if you remember. And we were all lined up against a background. And it was smile, please, and we smiled until our faces hurt. But we got all the photographs taken. Well, the reception was held in Granny's house, which was an upstairs flat in Merivale Road. So you know where I'm talking about if you're local. And we'd hired the trestle tables off the co-op, and the steak pies were bought from the co-op, because remember the dividend, 2 and 6 in the pound in those days. Vegetables, well, there was a sink full of potatoes, and there was as much cabbage as you can think about, and good neighbours were come in, and they cooked that part of the feast for us. So back we come from the photographers, and it's all laid out. Now, there was 25 people sat down in Granny's living room. But of course, we didn't have dishes or cutlery for that. So again, it was the kind neighbours. Everybody gave us their dinner sets, their tea sets, their glasses. The cutlery was the bit that appealed to me the most. It was the first time in my life I'd ever seen an apostle teaspoon. This was a revelation. A teaspoon with an apostle at the top of it. I couldn't take my eyes off it. That was the best bit of the feast for me. And of course, how did everybody know they were getting their own cutlery back? Well, it was very simple. Everybody decided what colour they were going to be, and a strand of wool was wound round the handles of the cutlery to make absolutely sure you got your own things back, especially your apostle teaspoons. I mean, you can't take chances like that. And we sat down. Now, there had been a show of presents previously, where everybody had come up, all our friends from the hosiery had come up. And of course, it was the usual thing. You know how that goes, don't you? Oh, look at that. Oh, I know where they bought that from. How much do you think it cost? Oh, I don't know. Oh, who's this from? Oh, it's from his sister. Oh my, I thought she'd have done a bit better than that. You know, and a free and frank discussion that everybody could hear took place. But the presents had been left in the front room so that after the wedding service, after the tea, everybody could go back in and have another look at the presents. And she had some beautiful presents. She had something which you'll remember if you're any decent age at all. Damask tablecloths with hand-painted corners. That was another thing I'd never seen before. Couldn't get over it. I thought it was fabulous. Well, we had music. My granny had an old pedal organ in the corner. 2 or 3 people had a go at playing it. Half a dozen people sang solos. Some sang duets. We all joined in. It was absolutely marvellous. Now we get to the bit, the going away. She went away. She took off her wedding dress and she put on something that, if you remember as well, was a height of style. Oh, it was. She had an emerald green shawl-collared coat with a nipped-in waist and a big wide skirt. And on her head, and I couldn't get over this either, she had a great big pancake hat which was all the style at the time. It was in amber velvet, and she just looked like a picture. Everybody started to say, "Oh, and where are you going to your honeymoon?" Now, my granny, who could have given Hyacinth Bouquet lessons on keeping your end up and keeping up appearances, announced quite loudly, "It's a secret destination for the honeymoon. Please don't ask." Well, stunned silence. I mean, we were used to folk going to, an auntie somewhere else, but a secret destination. Well, sensation again. So off they went. It was dark by this time because it was winter. We all went down the stairs, out to the front gate, and we were waving frantically at them going away on this secret destination. All the guests dispersed, and close family, we all went back upstairs, put the kettle on, and just talked about everybody, like you do. "Where have they gone to, Granny?" said I in all innocence. She said, "You must promise never to tell anyone, because this is a secret." So I promised faithfully not to tell anyone. Well, you see, there wasn't any money. There was no money at all, actually. It had all been done on shillings and halfpennies. They'd gone in the taxi down to the station. They'd gone up to Glasgow to a gospel meeting at the tent hall. They were catching the last train home, and they were going to sneak up the road under cover of darkness. And that was the honeymoon. We cleared the presents out the front room, and they came back to live in there until they could get a house of their own. Well, I thought that was a very good idea. And this is the first time I've actually told many people that that's exactly where they went. Because a secret had to be a secret, didn't it? Very early the next morning, because I was staying in my granny's overnight, "Get up," she says, "with something to do." Right, what could this be? We took Elsie's bridal bouquet and we walked all the way up from Maryville Road up to Niger Hill Cemetery in quite early on the Sunday morning, and we laid it on Grandpa's grave. Oh, I thought, that was lovely. We shed a few tears over Grandpa, who died only three or 4 years previously. And back we go, walking all the way. No wonder we were fit. Only to go in, and there's Elsie looking for her bouquet. "Where's my flowers? Who's had my flowers?" "Oh," says Granny, "I've put them on your father's grave." Well, what we didn't know, or maybe Granny did know, nobody else did though, was the flowers had been promised to the bridegroom's mother. And she had arrived looking for them. Well, there was a heated debate. Actually, it was very heated. And the ill will over that bunch of flowers lasted for many years. But apart from all that, it was a wonderful wedding. And I remember it as clearly as if it was yesterday. So, Valentine cards, if it leads to a wedding, as much fun as that one, they've done their work well.
Do you remember last year we ran a segment called the 7-Word Challenge? Well, just in case you've forgotten, I'll just remind you. We asked people to describe in 7 words how their faith had been affected during lockdown. Now, we asked 32 people and we ended up with 224 words. So at the end of it, we were curious to see how many times the same word had been used. So we collated all the words and we gave it to David because we didn't know what to do with it after that. And David, as usual, has come up with this wonderful item called a wordle, which we'd never heard of before. And it's where all the words are portrayed on the screen. So we thought you would like to share it with you. So here, thanks to David and his wonderful tech, is the 7-word challenge words that all 32 people gave us. So sit back, relax and enjoy. And if you were one of the participants, look to see if you can find your word. The 7-word challenge.
And now we've got cause for thought. You know all these things you see on Facebook with all the inspirational quotes on them? They're wonderful, but sometimes you just glance at them and you don't get the good of them. So what we are going to do is we're going to put up an inspirational quote, some lovely picture, and don't want you to think about it too quick and don't read it through too quickly. Read every word separately, because sometimes it's one word that reaches out and touches your heart, which you can easily miss if you're trying to read the whole sentence in one go. So take it one word at a time. Don't try and think too much, just let it come right into your heart and then read it through at the end. And we hope that it will stay with you and it'll encourage you, it'll warm your heart, and it'll give you hope to go forward. So relax, forget about everything, and here is something that will give you cause for thought.
Our next show is on the 31st of March, and that's the week before Easter. And with that in mind, we thought we would like to run some competitions and get you all involved. Because let's face it, you can't go anywhere, there's nothing else you can do, so we might as well spend lockdown doing arts and crafts. So the two competitions that we're going to run, the first one is to decorate an Easter bonnet, or for those that are arty and crafty amongst us, to make an Easter bonnet. Take a picture and send it in to us. And the second one is more of an arty theme. It's a competition with regards to what does Easter mean to you? Now, when we all think of Easter, we think of chocolate eggs and fluffy bunnies and chicks, but that's just the commercial sense, isn't it? What we want is for you to think of, when you think of the church at Easter, what springs to mind? What does it look like to you? So that could be a drawing, a painting, some craft work, or you could make a model. And again, once you've done it, take a picture and send it in to us at the usual email address. And for both the competitions, we'll be awarding a prize. And the winners will have their products, paintings, drawings, craft work, whatever it is you provide, and the winners are. It'll be put on the Sunday service on Easter Sunday. Now, we need to get them all in time so that we can judge it before the next show. So with that in mind, the closing date is Sunday, the 28th of March. So please get your entries in. Everybody can participate. You can all have a go at it. It's just a bit of fun. So let's get all started. I'll get the craft work out. I'll go and look out my Easter bonnet and try and get it made in time for the next show. And now, here with a sing-along, and you'll all know this, it's from Max Bygraves and it's called You Need Hands. So join in, everybody.
Did you know there's another verse to that song? No? Well, there is, and I'm going to sing it for you. You need hands to get yourself through lockdown. You need hands to wipe away your tears. When you feel this thing is never ending, you need hands to make an Easter bonnet. There now. That took you by surprise. Easter bonnets. Yes. Now you say, how can we do that? All the non-essential shops that sell all the bits and pieces, they're all closed. How am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to show you actually. Have you got any paper napkins in the house? I'm sure you have. I've got so many. Because I'll use half a packet and then I'll see another one that's even prettier and I'll have to buy that. I've got quite a lot. So I thought, let's use them. If you've got paper napkins, fold them that way. I've got 3 here. And at the point, the top point, we're going to put them together like this and like that and staple them. Now, once you've done that, you've actually got a brim and you can spread it out as wide or as narrow as you want to do. All you need then is, have you got an old fascinator or an Alice band or even a rolled up headscarf? Because what you can do is you can put that on for the brim and then I'm sure you've got something to put a top on. And to be honest, just use what you've got in the house. It makes it better actually. It really does. What I've done is I've taken an old fascinator, the one I went to see the Queen in at the garden party. That's the name dropping over. And with my paper napkins and a bit of felt and a number of pins, you don't have to sew anything, just pin things on carefully. I have made an Easter bonnet for myself, which, although you can see, now I've told you what it is, it doesn't look too bad, does it? I've got my paper napkins here. I've got a wee bit of felt cut out, like what you would have on a bud. And then on the top, I've got what's supposed to be a crocus, made out of some more felt. Incidentally, if you need felt, I've got a ton of it. And I'm quite happy if you want some to put some through your door, if you're local, that is. But there we are. That's all it took to turn a plain navy fascinator into an Easter bonnet. Now you can do better than that. That was just me with some pins and some staples. You can do much better than that. And you can take a photograph of yourself in your bonnet, send it to us, WhatsApp, online, Messenger, any way you want, and we're going to show them on Friendly Hour. And you never know, we might even show it in this church service. You know, we'll need to ask about that though. So I'm going to leave it with you. Easter bonnet, it can be anything you like, but use what you've got in the house. Make it a real challenge. Let's come up with some really ingenious things, because we're ingenious people, aren't we? And I know a lot of you do crafts and you've got carrier bagfuls of stuff hidden upstairs in your wardrobe that you haven't even looked at yet. Get them out and see what you can do. So there we are, Easter bonnets. You've got plenty of time. Let's have the photographs. Let's get showing them to everybody to cheer them up.
Well, that's the show over for another month, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. On behalf of Anne, Karen, Lynn and myself, I'd like to thank our 2 invited guests for coming along today and performing for us. That was Adam for his duet with Anne and Jim for his beautiful poem. I'd also like to thank David for coming along and giving us the interesting figures on the 7-word challenge. It was interesting, so thank you for that, David. I'd also like to thank all those who who were brave enough to hand in their baby photographs. Thought that was a very nice touch on this programme. I'd also like to thank you, the viewers, very much. We couldn't do it without you. And if you enjoyed us, tell your friends. If you didn't, don't say a word. Now, we are back on again on the 31st, that's the last day of March, but it's our Easter programme. We continue to have prayer times on a Tuesday and a Thursday at 2 o'clock, and our usual Sunday service begins at 11, and you can catch it on Facebook or YouTube. And finally, I would like to thank Dylan for all his work for putting this show together. We couldn't do it without this young man. So Karen, Anne, Lynn and myself, thank you very much, Dylan. So all that remains for me to say is, see you next Wednesday, March the 31st at 2 o'clock. And may the blessings of the day radiate through your smile, be helpful through your hands, and shine through your heart. Until the next time, bye-bye.